Hey everybody, we're back with the Sunday night stream. We're finishing off Symphony of the Night, the luck mode run, with the good ending, right here, right now. Let's not waste any time. Okay, reverse castle. How much of the map did we get done? Everything here. Alright, let's rock and roll. Still got the Herald Shield. Then we go this way and we take on the Darkwing Bat. Darkwing Bat is the first of 5 bosses that we need to take out to get to the ending. Each of the 5 bosses we need to take out references Castlevania 1. Hey Bane, how you doing tonight, buddy? Yeah, each of the bosses we take out here reference Castlevania 1. And from each of them we get an item that references Castlevania 2. The Darkwing Bat is easily the worst looking enemy of the game. It's the 3D effect on the wings. Since the boss itself is a sprite. Turn this, actually, I'm not overly happy about that, is that? There we go. Since the boss itself is a sprite, but the wings are 3D models, it looks terrible. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Ready to get this done. Ready for the Halloween stream on Thursday. Not looking forward to the actual process of doing this. The first Symphony of the Night's a fantastic game. Its big problem is its second half, and there is never a playthrough where I enjoy going through the reverse castle. But yeah, the Castlevania games, whenever they do 3D enemies, they always look way worse than the rest of them. I've been messing around with Richter mode in Portrait of Ruin recently, since I wasn't really in the mood to do a proper playthrough, so I've just been doing Richter mode. And I'd forgotten Portrait of Ruin is the one that has the 3D peeping eyes for absolutely no reason, and they look awful. See, I want you dead. Do I have my luck? Yes. I could increase that with the yellow cart armor, actually. Which I didn't get because I didn't open the clock. Of course not. Alright, never mind. But yeah, I think most of the Metroidvania, Castlevania games suffer after you pass the bad ending. Certainly, once you pass the bad ending, you pass the majority of the game and all the interesting stuff. So this is, I think, the only enemy that will respawn without you exiting the room. And it makes this a really good place to farm for its weapon, which is the Heaven's Sword. Which I ended up with in the playthrough, actually, the Let's Play. Which I was really happy with, because the Heaven's Sword is a pretty neat weapon. We'll do this 3 more times. I've got a couple of ideas. There we go, that's 3. Didn't get it, it's fair enough. I've got a couple of ideas. for Tuesday's stream. Probably make it the first of an actual series. But my main question is, like, what am I going to start? Because there's a bunch of thoughts I have in mind. The original Final Fantasy. Indiana Jones, of course, and the Emperor's Tomb, which I will probably start soon enough. And I'm kind of debating a Pokemon game. There we go, that's good. Getting all 4 of these gears is horrible in the reverse clock tower. Yeah, I did. There we go. Yeah, I'm kind of debating Pokemon. I actually came across, I don't know if I mentioned it in the stream, I came across a really interesting ROM hack that I want to look at, but I've been kind of holding it off because I'm not sure if I'm going to do it for a stream. Okay, this should be the last one. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. I've got enough issues with Pokemon as a game without making it any harder than it needs to be. Okay, and now this is not worth it. Diamond, Life Apple, Sunstone, and we have probably not been playing long enough for the Sunstone to actually be useful. No, we haven't. But yeah, it's a ROM hack called Pokemon Crystal Clear that is Pokemon Crystal with the express intention of making it an open world game. And I've looked into a lot of the details and it's very interesting. There's a lot of work put into it. Come on. Really didn't want that. But yeah, there's a lot of work put into it. You have access to a bunch more Pokemon as starters. You can choose to start in Kanto or Johto. There's a lot of really cool stuff about it. And that I'll get into if I actually do stream it. Alright, let's get out of here. I hate this place. We didn't get a Heaven's Sword. No well. Off we go. Start getting our original equipment back. The big rooms like this are the worst when you're going for the good ending, for the map completion. With one exception, and that is some of the rooms in the reverse underground caverns. This would be a lot easier, actually, if I had the map open constantly like you do in the DS games. But the DS games never based any of the endings on how much of the map you've completed. Yeah, so let's do this. Recover some of the magic again while we run around up here. But now I'm debating a few things. Like I say, the original Final Fantasy is what I'm really interested in going for. I feel like the original doesn't really get as much love as it should. Like in any of its formats. Alright, that's this room done. Alright, let's get out of the clock tower. I mean, I've said before, like, I think the original Final Fantasy would be a great game to have on mobile because of the very stop-and-start approach. The very stop-and-start friendly design of the game. And with access to quick saves and stuff like that, it'd be great. The big problem is the mobile version, for some reason, requires you to be online to play it. It's like, what? You know, if it wasn't for that, I'd be willing to have it on my phone, pull it out every now and then and play for a few minutes. As it is, if I want to do that, I have to pull out my Game Boy Advance. The problem with that idea is the Game Boy Advance does not have a sleep function. So... yeah, as far as Pokemon goes, though, if I'm going to do one that isn't the... What level are we at? Is that 39? 29. If I'm going to do one that isn't the ROM hack that I was looking at, probably not going to do Gen 1 or Gen 2. Because, let's be fair, Red, Blue and Yellow are not good. They've aged terribly. So if I was going to do them, I'd probably start with either Fire Red or Leaf Green. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. There's no reason beyond nostalgia to go back to the originals. Don't let your nostalgia blind you, Bane. Alright, so we're gonna grind here for a Crusadegram. I hope one drops quick. I'd rather not have the rest of the stream be me grinding for a Crusadegram. Yeah, I try to avoid being nostalgia blinded when it comes to a lot of stuff like this. Try to view these ideas objectively. Well, you can still love and enjoy them, but you've got to accept that a big part of the reason for that is nostalgia. I mean, it's the thing, I could sit down and probably play through Final Fantasy Adventure. And there'd be some stuff I'd have to get past with its old design, but it'd be doable and there wouldn't really be much wrong with it because it's a solidly built game. The same is not true of Pokemon Gen 1. And Gen 2 is only a step above that. And when I say something like, you know, the PlayStation's the best way to play Final Fantasy VIII, even with the more recent remaster, that's not because of nostalgia, that's because the remaster doesn't perform as well. And there was a point where I was of the opinion that the PS4 version of Final Fantasy VII, best way to play it, because when I first played it, I had no problems with it. Then we did it for stream, and there was so much wrong with it. And I've come away from that thinking, you know, maybe you should just play it on PS1, where none of those problems exist. So I try to be objective in these ideas. Doesn't always work. You see, there's the interesting thing. I'm more receptive to Final Fantasy Adventure than I am to the Game Boy Zelda games. I've tried to do Link's Awakening several times, and I can't get into it that well. It's a shame, because I know if I'd had that when I was younger, I would have loved it. Oh wow, you don't have to see this actually firing. Usually you do too much damage to it, it goes into that form but then is immediately destroyed. Almost because the bat did that damage. You want to be careful with the Tin Man though, because Tin Man hurts. Well, no. Final Fantasy Adventure was a Final Fantasy spin-off through and through. I've dabbled with Oracle of Seasons. I played through a good amount of Oracle of Ages. I didn't finish it. I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Link's Awakening. And it is a game I do want to go back and actually properly do sometime. Although I want to go back and actually finish Link's Awakening at least once. I mean, if I finish Zelda 2 once, I can finish Link's Awakening once. But I think that's down to nostalgia. I could have easily gone through that game if I'd had the nostalgic factor. But it's one of those sad things. I never had the handheld Zelda games growing up. I didn't have Link's Awakening, I didn't have Link's Awakening DX, I didn't have either of the Oracle games, I didn't have Minish Cap. The first time I played Minish Cap, I ended up borrowing it from someone, and it wouldn't save. So I had to play through that game without turning my Game Boy Advance off, which was fun. I didn't actually own any of the handheld Zelda games until Phantom Hourglass. And at this point, I have to say my favourite handheld Zelda game is Link Between Worlds, but it's possible that that is more down to circumstance and everything, but I thought Link Between Worlds was a fantastic game. Get back here. So with you not being a big Zelda fan, Bane, what Zeldas have you finished? Hopefully one of these schmooze drops the Crusader as we're going back, because I'd rather not grind for this. Oh, that's interesting to know. Yeah, I wonder if Seiken Densetsu had come out on the NES instead of the original Final Fantasy, if it would have had anywhere near the impact, and the answer's probably no. Imagine how the face of gaming would be different today if Square had released Seiken Densetsu on the NES instead of Final Fantasy. Because you know we wouldn't have been looking at Seiken Densetsu 15 recently. Did about 6% on 500. Yeah, it seems to be the most common opinions with Zelda fans are that Zelda 2 is the black sheep of the series. Link to the Past is fantastic. Ocarina is usually overrated. Majora's Mask is an underrated gem, although it isn't anymore. I think it's sort of tall underrated anymore. But one of the most common opinions is that the 2DS games are some of the weakest in the series. Which is a shame. I've been meaning to go through Phantom Hourglass again, actually, and reevaluate my opinion on it. Yeah, I think if you're into the series, the first two games are worth playing to play them. But beyond that, like, they're not games that deserve a second completion. I think soon it'll be time to start working through some more of my backlog on the stream. So this is a good place to grind the schmooze because just from the entrance, two of them will come at you. There we go, the Crusader. Get out of the way. I think 2 is certainly underrated. 2 gets... Is it stronger than the Holy Sword? No. 2 gets a lot of flack. But I think 2 has certainly aged better than the first game. This is the Crusader. I like that you can keep attacking while moving. You don't have to stop. I feel like 2's mechanics are more refined than the first games. I'd be interested to see a remake of both of them. I think remaking Link's Awakening was kind of a weird choice, honestly, over like the first 2 games. My only real problem with Zelda 2 is the experience system that necessitates excessive grinding for a good amount of the time. And also, when you get a game over, you go back to the beginning of the game. Beyond that, like, I think 2 does a bunch of stuff better than the first game does. That's not to say the first game's bad, the first game's just archaic. Here we go. Frankenstein's monster, which I believe was boss 3 in the original game. Yeah, I should probably give it a while before I go through Wind Waker, actually. Oh, I am looking forward to playing Wind Waker again, though. I like Wind Waker. I feel like Wind Waker is often just overlooked. Everybody's always like, oh, Ocarina and Majora's Mask, and I feel like Wind Waker doesn't get the attention it really deserves. So if you're going to grind for the Ring of Vada, this is the best room for it. Because there's 3 of these guys. I wonder, could I kill these guys with a wing smash? No. Yeah, Wind Waker does get love, but I feel like it's often overlooked in favour of Ocarina and Majora. Gauntlet. There we go, a second Ring of Vada. Let's break this game further. I'll agree with you. You do have to take into consideration the age, but like I say, taking into consideration the age, I think Zelda 2 is probably a better game overall than Zelda 1. But that's personal opinion. I feel like Zelda 2 refined a bunch of the ideas, the combat's better. My only real problem with it is the level grinding. And it's one of those things why it's the reason I'm not gonna say Zelda 1, despite my distaste for it, is a bad game, because it's not. It's archaic. That's it. You want to watch out for the Nova Skeletons, because those lasers do a big amount of damage. But generally, the same is true of really, like, I'd say every generation up to the PS2, and I would include the PS2 in that. Because you go back to the PS2 and you see designs and ideas that were dropped the generation after. And I think I bring this up at some point in the Suffering playthrough, but it was really neat going through a game like that again, because we've just not had any kind of game like that in a long time. The solid action horror of that idea. And I feel like genres these days, everything has to have RPG elements these days, which, you know, is problematic in and of itself. I don't want to level up in everything, I don't want to build a skill tree in everything. But like, more than that, like, I think the closest last generation we got to anything like the Suffering was Dead Space. But Dead Space played itself as straight horror. It wasn't trying to be action horror. The problem was, it did end up being action horror. It just has a very different tone to it than, say, the Suffering does. Or Cold Fear, or Nightmare Creatures. Cold Fear is probably not a good example. Nightmare Creatures is. Or, like, Castlevania. The action with horror ideas in it. And I think I think we do have to take basically everything in the context of its era. It's entirely possible, that we head into the next generation, into the PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet, and it's entirely possible that the PS3 generation, PS3 360 Wii generation, will end up feeling antiquated to us. I'm not entirely sure how, but it's possible. I'll tell you one thing I missed though as we've gone forward. There is no easy way to do this. No easy, convenient way. One thing I do miss, the budget tile. Like, nowadays, everything is either a big AAA game, or it's an indie game. And again, we go back to the Suffering. The Suffering isn't a big AAA game of the time. It's more like, Eurogamer has been doing a series of articles recently that's been pretty interesting. They call the Double 18, or something along those lines. The idea is the games that weren't quite AAA but were still really solid. They were a little more budget, a little more niche, but still really solid. And the Suffering's a good example of that. Like a stopwatch for this. And there are other good examples, stuff like Way of the Samurai, which was more niche and wasn't like a big budget production. I think the best example we've got these days is Earth Defense Force. Well, Earth Defense Force managed to find its audience, and it got very fortunate with that. I think the last thing I played that was kind of positioned as a AAA game, what came out at a not AAA price, was Sonic Forces. Because that game came out and it was, I think, like £35 new. It was never positioned any higher. And that's a good thing, because Sonic Forces is not a good game. And the last thing Sega needs at any point, especially after Sonic Mania came out, the last thing Sega needed was, oh, our full-price, big-budget Sonic game is worse than that cheap little 2D game we farmed off to a bunch of fans to make. You know, I would disagree somewhat with the PS1. I think with the PS1 you really had to be in the mindset. I think the PS1 can be harder to get back into than the NES can in some cases. Particularly because of control, and the early 3D controls were not great. Although our PS1 RPGs, since control is not a big thing there, not really an issue, and you know, you've got the good ideas with those. PS2 though, I would say PS2 is PS2's great. I think PS2 is... I said this at some point in one of the playthroughs, I don't remember what it was. But I think PS2 was as good as 3D graphics needed to be at any point. It's cool that they've gotten better. But like, you look at the PS1 and graphics needed to improve. The 3D graphics needed to improve. You look at the PS2 and they look great. They look fine. They never needed to be better. And as a result... you could go back to them and they're not horrible. They don't look terrible unless you're playing a terrible game. And certainly by, say, 2003, they'd fixed the issue with 3D controls and camera control. Which I think is why, you know, a lot of us have some of our favourite games in that generation. Like Devil May Cry 3, like Resident Evil 4, like Onimusha 3. Oh, I've not been down here in ages. I forgot these things were down here. Like Yakuza 1 and 2. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. Tekken 5, Soul Calibur 3. Spider-Man 2. Silent Hill 2. It's like, I would argue, like, objectively, that is the best 3D generation. Because the graphics were there, the gameplay was there, development hadn't become so stupidly expensive yet. You could do interesting things with the limitations of the platform. And with development not being so insanely expensive, you didn't need to get as much money back. Like nowadays, like, oh yeah, no, this game costs I don't know, like 100 million to develop. And it's like, oh well, you know, we've got to get all of that back. Whereas like back in the PS2 era, it was a case of this game cost this much to make. We can live, if we sell 2 million copies, we are rolling in it. Nowadays, oh, we sold 7 million, that wasn't enough. And so with the lower profit line required, with lower number of sales required to hit a profit, I think we did see a lot more interesting games as a result. I mean, hell, compare racing games this generation versus the PS2 era. I think the PS2 era was like the best era for racing games. I mean, there was something for everybody. Ridge Racer 5, Gran Turismo 4, Project Gotham Racing. Alright. You know, we'll come back to this via teleporter. Project Gotham Racing, Burnout, Need for Speed. Like, Need for Speed brought out Underground, and Underground was phenomenal. I think that is I would argue that Underground did essentially add RPG mechanics to a racing idea. Because the idea of customizing your car to be better in racing and stuff is basically the races are your random battles, grind, earn money to level up, and I think it's possibly the best implementation of an RPG mechanic in any genre outside of RPGs. This is a dodo, you don't see this that often. It only appears in this room and usually disappears once it gets off screen. But yeah, the PS2, Xbox, GameCube generation is my favourite. Certainly for consoles at least. That wasn't it. For handhelds, I'm not entirely sure. The Game Boy Advance has... Because let's be fair, if we talk about handheld generations, we're mostly talking about what did Nintendo do. And you know, while we have fond memories of the Game Boy, you gotta remember, like 95% of the Game Boy's library was crap. For every Super Mario Land 2, there were a dozen pieces of garbage. I suppose if you want to talk about a handheld generation with any kind of competition to Nintendo, it really is either the DS and PSP or the 3DS and the Vita. I've been kind of in and out of racing games for a long time. It was never my favourite genre, but it is a genre I'll dabble in depending on the game. So I loved Burnout 3 when I was younger. I was so happy when I ended up with Burnout Revenge later on. And Burnout Revenge is a game I still love. I was really happy that was added to Xbox One backwards compatibility. The Need for Speed, Underground, and Most Wanted game, like the original Most Wanted, still have a place in my heart. I'll still sit down and play Ridge Racer. I love Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer's fantastic. But I generally have no interest in racing simulation. I love the arcade side. I'm not going to sit down and do simulation. But, you know, to each their own. I mean, I was never overly into sports games. I was kind of into some of the extreme sports games. Like, we already did Tony Hawk's Underground for the channel, and, you know, I was big into that. I had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 as a kid. I ended up with Pro Skater 4 on the PlayStation, interestingly enough. Ended up with Underground 2, and that was kind of where my Tony Hawk's journey ended. Although I've ended... Oh, we got the Ouroboros. Although I have ended up with, I've managed to get every Tony Hawk's game after that, and I've just not spent any real time with them. I love the SSX games, and by that I mean I loved SSX Tricky. I've got SSX 3 on Xbox because it's backwards compatible, and I've dabbled with it, and it's pretty fun. I also have the reboot EA did, and I've tried to get into that and I just can't. I think they overcomplicate the entire thing. Yeah, the Game Boy. The Game Boy is important for its history, but the library, and you have to judge basically every system on its library. The library is mostly trash. And it is a shame because there are fantastic games on there. God, I hate doing this. I have to get in the right spot here. And the stupid thing with this is like, okay, that's as high as you can go. That's not right, so I have to then transform into the wolf just to push that a little bit higher, and that is the map percentage. The Game Boy is cool, important for its history, but like I said, you gotta judge any system by its library, and the Game Boy's library is not good. Not overall. And your issue there is you're talking entirely Nintendo games. Nintendo put out quality on the Game Boy, they really did. Square put out some quality with the Final Fantasy Adventure game, Final Fantasy Adventure and Final Fantasy Legend games. If we count the Game Boy Color in... if we count the Game Boy Color in there as well, like Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 are fantastic ports. Yeah, it's this one done. Dragon Warrior 3, of course. But... there we go, the Alucard Shield. We are mostly pretty much talking about Nintendo games. And, like, we've discussed this before, but it's the same issue you got with the Nintendo 64. Outside of the first and second party games, outside of stuff like Mario and Zelda, and then the stuff Rare did when they were a second party, and also, you know, Kirby 64, which is fantastic, and we should never forget that. How many... can you count off 10 games for the Nintendo 64 that aren't by a first or second party on 64 worth owning? And I think the loss of Square as a publisher certainly hurt them. Okay, now getting in here is awkward. You pretty much have to use the wing smash to get through that. You gotta be kidding me, how am I on the right there? Exactly. I think the Game Boy Advance, though... the Game Boy Advance is fantastic. Its library is fantastic. But again, I think moving up into the DS and the competition between the DS and the PSP, which wasn't really a competition as far as Nintendo was concerned, but there were some really solid games there. You also got to give Nintendo props for like the one time they turned a gimmick into not a gimmick. Because like, let's be fair, the Wii's motion controls, gimmick. The DS touchscreen, gimmick. But the games on the system that use that in an effective way, fantastic. And the PSP has some fantastic titles of its own. And we should never forget that. There we go. Awesome. You know, when it comes down to it, I probably would definitely say, that works. I probably would say, like, both of Sony's handhelds are underrated. Like, we all know my opinion on the Vita. I love my Vita. I think it's a fantastic little system. I think the PSP is also underrated. And people are way too quick to jump on the idea that the DS is better. And I think it's a difficult decision to make. And yeah, I think there we go. Oh, it held its own in the market, but you know, you gotta remember when there's only 2 competitors, second place is still last. But the PSP is a fantastic little system. And I do think we have to count in as a plus for it that it could play PS1 games. I think ignoring the fact that, oh my god, all of a sudden we could do stuff like we could play Metal Gear Solid, we could play Final Fantasy VII anywhere. These defining classics of our childhood all of a sudden can be played anywhere. And I think that is an incredibly important thing to point out. Especially since, like, we talk about the original DS and we always take into account its backwards compatibility. Sony banked on power. Sony banked on basically the opposite to what they did with the PS2. Because the PS2 won out because of its fantastic third-party support. And Sony expected to pull in handheld gamers with the power, and they also expected to pull in third-party publishers with the PlayStation brand. And they pulled some people in, and I'll be honest, the first time I saw, because I think I didn't have a PSP until I was in college. Why do I have the knife? Did I lose the Holy War? I didn't have a PSP myself till I was in college. One of the first games I saw for it, a friend in high school had a PSP, and I saw him one day playing Vice City Stories. And it was basically console-level Grand Theft Auto. And there was no way to look at that and not think, oh my god, that is so awesome. Because it was, like, console-level games on a handheld was really cool. Yeah, we're going for about an hour. Judging by this progress, we should have this done. I hope the Vita was going to turn into that. Like, with the Vita launching with Persona 4 Golden, which was a PS2 game, but now it was enhanced. I was I was so hopeful that we'd get some more PS2 games on there. And we really didn't, mate. Such a shame. No, the PSP is a really solid system. And it's one of those systems... it's a system that certainly became a hell of a lot more interesting once the homebrew scene exploded out. Fan translations, ROM hacks, the ability to play almost any PS1 game, not just the ones that are restricted to the store. And then the PSP also turns out to be an actually really good emulation machine to use on the go. Like, for years, if you wanted an emulator in your pocket, the PSP was the best way to go. The PSP definitely got better with age. I mean, these days, if I'm playing PSP, I prefer to play it on the Vita. Because of the second analog stick, it makes a lot of things a lot more comfortable to control. But if I'm doing stuff on the go... Because if I'm doing stuff on the go, the Vita I don't consider to be overly portable. It's like, oh yeah, no, I can sit down with it anywhere and play it anywhere. It's not a system I'm going to take anywhere with me. You know, I should grab this now, actually, so I don't have to backtrack. But yeah, the Vita, I don't consider it a system to take anywhere with me. It's fairly sizable. I think the Vita is on, like, the upper edge of what I would consider to be a portable system. Because size is always important with these things. Like the Switch. Oh. Yeah, the Switch has a handheld mode. I think it is... It's too big to be a handheld. It's too bulky. It's not comfortable to hold for an extended period. It also feels really fragile. And it is pretty heavy. And when you're balancing all that weight on like your bottom two fingers, not comfortable. Alright. So we got one more horrible room to do. Unfortunately, the room is huge. What was the point I was making? Yeah, the PSP. I've got a PSP Go now. You've seen my PSP Go. Beautiful little system. The form factor on it is really nice. Shrinks into itself. I love it. And I think it is a fantastic handheld. And so while I prefer to play PSP and PS1 games on the Vita if I'm going to play them not on the TV, if I'm going to play a PS1 game and it's not on the TV, I'd rather play it on the Vita. But on the go, PSP Go, definitely over the Vita. You gotta be kidding me with this. That is probably the best example of why I hate map completion in this game. But yeah, I'm glad to own a PSP now. Super happy with the PSP Go. And like the biggest issue with playing PS1 games on the PSP was always the lack of buttons. You don't have enough buttons. Not an issue with RPGs. And you know me, I love PS1 RPGs. I'm actually gonna do some more of them one day. There we go. I'm pretty sure they never brought this idea back. Like the certain map percentage required. To get the best ending. They did it in Aria of Sorrow, they did it in Dawn of Sorrow, they didn't in Portrait of Ruin, they didn't in Order of Ecclesia. I can't definitively say if they did it with Harmony of Distance or Circle of the Moon though. And it would have still been really irritating. There we go. Would have still been really irritating if they'd done it in one of the DS games, but the DS games have the benefit of the map is visible at all times on the top screen. Alright, let's get out of there. You know, I'd say RPG-wise, the Game Boy Advance is probably the best handheld. I mean, you got your stuff like, you got all the Final Fantasy ports, you have stuff like Golden Sun. Pokemon games on the Game Boy Advance, if you were into Pokemon, were pretty solid. Gen 3 gets a lot of hate, but Gen 3 was fine. You know, I have more examples of RPGs and I cannot think of any of them. Two Breath of Fire ports. You think so? Breath of Fire Breath of Fire 1 I could understand. Breath of Fire 2 I heard was basically just a Super Nintendo version again. If you're going to do a normal playthrough of Symphony of the Night, I would suggest not necessarily getting the Crusader or not using it, to give yourself a little bit more of a challenge, even though by this point the game isn't challenging. If you're going after the map completion, get the Crusader just to be done with this. It'll make things so much faster. Alright, now into the abandoned pit. Mario Luigi Superstar Saga. You know, I've heard from people who are way more into Pokemon than I am that Gen 5 was probably the best gen. Specifically Black and White 2. But that's mostly in competitive terms, and you know, I don't play competitively. I don't play anything competitively because I've played with people who play competitive. I've played stuff with people who play stuff competitively, and that is inevitably not fun. It's not fun to play with those people. But you know, back in the day, I enjoyed Fire Red, I enjoyed Sapphire, I enjoyed Emerald. I can understand the complaints people have with it, with Hoenn in hindsight, of its overuse of HMs, and let's be fair, nobody likes HMs. So here's a fun fact. Death has a different sprite here than he did in the start of the game.
So, you've made it this far. In the name
For
of
some
your father,
reason.
cease this foolishness.
Not while there's a breath in my body.
Then for the master, I'll feast on your soul this night.
Bring it, bitch. You know, this might be the only time Death has a second form. I say that, but it's been a while since I played Lament of Innocence, where he is the final boss. Yeah, definitely. I'm tired of Pokemon.
This switch hasn't been pressed yet.
Thanks, Salad. I'm tired of Pokemon. I make no secret of that fact. But if you're still into Pokemon, I respect that. My problem is I find Pokemon games as RPGs boring. I think they're very boring and base RPGs. And I think it's ironic, but the series hasn't really evolved. And I think that's a big part of the problem. With Sword and Shield coming out soon, I think it's ridiculous that they're still doing the same thing they did 20 years ago. But now that it's on a console, they expect you to pay £60 for it. Twice. Again, there's no reason. There is no reason why there should be two versions of Pokemon anymore. Especially not with them being on console. Yeah, they do. And it's the sad thing, because I think Pokemon is a fascinating franchise, and it's why I'm totally interested in doing stuff like Pokemon Snap or Pokemon Ranger at some point for the channel. Because I think Pokemon is a fantastic franchise. I think Game Freak is a crap developer. And we're supposed to be excited over the new IP they've got out, which is supposedly where the A team of Game Freak has been. It's like, apparently Sword and Shield are being developed by the B team at Game Freak, because the A team is developing Little Town Hero. And I was kind of interested in it the first time we saw it. Then we saw more of it. I think it was in the September Nintendo Direct, and it looks really bland. And it's like, you know what? Thanks, Game Freak. I've got enough bland RPGs in my life. No. They really do. They pump out game after game after game, and they are effectively the same game. There's some aesthetic differences, but they're essentially the same game. And I think it really is disappointing that Pokemon as a franchise hasn't been taken away from them. It's not been taken away from them, and they've not been made to actually improve in any way. And I think it's like one of the best examples is like, this is the first Pokemon game on console, the first main Pokemon game on console, and they're just doing the same thing again. And I think it's really disappointing, especially when we compare it to Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem Three Houses comes out, and it's the first Fire Emblem game on console since Radiant Dawn on the Wii. And so they've been stuck on handhelds for over 10 years now. Is it over 10 years? It's around that. And then they finally get back to console with Fire Emblem Three Houses, and oh, would you look at that? They made use of the bloody... They made use of the console, they made use of it being more powerful than the 3DS, they did more with it. I need to pick up Fire Emblem Three Houses, I really want to get that. But I think it's the best counterpoint to Pokemon Sword and Shield. And again, what? Beyond the whole idea of, oh yeah, it's what they've always done, why are Pokemon Sword and Shield 2 games? It's like, imagine if you bring up EA and Game Freak shitting out the same game just like EA does with FIFA. Imagine if EA could get away with pushing out 2 different versions of FIFA every year. And it's like, oh yeah, but this version has, this team is exclusive to this version. Oh, you want to play as Aston Villa? Well, you gotta get FIFA Blue. I don't know. Like, you imagine if EA did that, and imagine how well that would go down. There's no reason for Game Freak to still be doing this beyond tradition, and tradition sometimes just needs to stop. Alright. Spybreaker. Ugh. I think the trading mechanic isn't necessarily a bad idea. I think the requirement of trading is a bad idea. It's a money grabbing tactic, is what the two versions is. That's all it is. And in particular, like, the requirement to trade to evolve Pokemon has always been bullshit. Yeah, by the time I picked up Pokemon Yellow when I was in school, by the time I got it, almost everybody in school had moved on from Pokemon. They tried to make fun of me when I was talking about it to my friend who hadn't just stopped playing Pokemon. He tried to make fun of me for still playing Pokemon. I just didn't give a shit. It's like, yeah, no, I've got a game here that I really enjoy, and you can't take that away from me, because I do not give a shit about your opinion when it comes to games. Well, you can argue that any re-release like that comes down to money, but a re-release like the Kingdom Hearts HD remixes, the final mixes are bullshit. Particularly, you know, the fact that they were only released in Japan. But the HD remixes serve a fan purpose of actually being able to play some of these games. You know, I'm going to grab that stopwatch, actually. Because I think when we're done here, what I'm going to do is I'll just use a library card. Get back to the standard castle. You know, that's actually another point in favour of the ROM hack I was talking about, Crystal Clear, that makes the game open world. Every one of the, I think it's 251 Pokemon in Gen 2, every one of them can be caught in-game. There's no need to trade. And there is a guy in-game who specifically exists to evolve Pokemon by trade. You trade your Pokemon to him, and he gives them right back to you, and they'll evolve. And like I said, I'm interested in it because it's the kind of thing... The open world idea is fantastic, and the execution of it is the kind of thing that Game Freak should have been doing themselves years ago. It's like when Stardew Valley came out, and the original creator of Harvest Moon turned around and said, you know, this is actually what Harvest Moon should have become. If they'd stopped, you know, screwing around and focusing so much on graphics, this is what Harvest Moon should have ended up as. I mean, if you still enjoy Pokemon, cool. I'm not going to stay away from you. I just wish you were being treated better by Game Freak for your love and dedication. Alright, since we're breaking the game, we're going to break Galamoth. Now, at no point in any of the playthroughs that I've recorded or put online have I ever actually done the Alucard Shield plus Shield Rod combination, which is among all the game breakers in the game. The Shield Rod plus Alucard Shield is probably the single most broken. And we're going to just throw it at Galamoth. This is Galamoth, the toughest boss in the game. Yeah. And so, you know, you can see the reason why I have never actually done that before in recording or on stream or on the channel or when I did commentary. You can see the reason. Not that it really matters, because when I did this on my channel, Galamoth seemed to glitch out and stopped attacking me, so that was fun. And the reward for the hardest boss in the game. Turn into a fart. The Ruby Circlet is actually decent from what I remember. HP by fire damage, and there's a bunch of enemies that do fire damage. There we go, just use this. We get back, we can teleport. We could teleport to the entrance, but we won't, actually. And since I have the clock, I can go and grab the Alucard mail as well. The Alucard gear. Got one little bit of map completion left. Really wish there was a close teleport to the clock face. Oh, there is. All Roxy's quarters. It's just you don't get it until usually fairly late in the standard castle run. So we have 2 mandatory bosses left. Death. No, we did Death. We have the Mummy and Medusa. You know, I really hope we get some more details about the Analog Pocket soon, like a date. I'm really interested in picking that up. And as a Let's Player and a streamer, the dock is also interesting to me. To be able to play stuff on the TV off the cartridge. Without emulation, without having to go through the Super Game Boy or the Game Boy Player on GameCube. It's really nice. It's like the Game Boy Player sounds like a wonderful idea, but it's got its issues, and it comes out looking really blurry. Because of I think the post-processing that the software actually uses. My Life in Gaming did a fantastic video on it, on the best way to play Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance on a TV. But the dock idea, being able to hook up from the system to the TV, really interests me. So I'm hoping we can get some details on it soon. I did break that wall. Alright, let's get back out into the reverse Royal Chapel. But yeah, I'm hopeful for the analog pocket. Sweet, it does drop holy water. Alright, so what we'll do is we will go through the reverse Royal Chapel now. We're going to make this before the end of the stream, definitely. One thing I find interesting is the idea of playing Game Boy games on a screen with such a high resolution. Like, what the hell? It's like, I think the screen they've been showing is actually a higher resolution than the Vita. And it's like, yeah, no, walk away from that with you know, walk away from that and see just how good that looks. But I'm very interested. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be streaming off it. Because it'd probably be the most reliable way that doesn't involve emulation of doing Game Boy Advance games. There, let's deal with this horror fest. The Blacker Knife. That's the same pixel we missed last time as well. The fact that this tower is 2 squares wide on the map. You think you'll pick up any of the attachments for it, Bane? To play Game Gear or Neo Geo Pocket Color? You're gonna play one of those Neo Geo Pocket Color King of Fighters games? I think there was a Fatal Fury on Neo Geo Pocket Color. You know, I'd be interested in taking a look at Sonic's Pocket Adventure for Neo Geo Pocket Color, but yeah, I'm not going to go out of my way and pick up an attachment like that just for one game. I have no idea what else I actually bother with on Neo Geo Pocket Color, and there's got to be a better way to say the system's name than Neo Geo Pocket Color. You've got to be kidding me, I missed that pixel as well. The map is way too demanding of precision here. Yeah, I've debated dabbling in the 8-bit Sonic games, but if I was going to do it, I'd do the Master System versions. Because they're the same game, just with, on the Game Gear, they have Screen Punch. It's like when you look at the Wii U Virtual Console and it gives you the option of Super Mario World or Super Mario Advance 2 Super Mario World. And the question becomes, why would I bother with Super Mario Advance 2 when you give me the option of Super Mario World? It's like Super Mario Advance 4 at least has a point, because the Virtual Console release of that had all the e-reader levels on it. Twilight Cloak. Yeah. Ups our constitution by 1. Meh. It's something. Wasn't there only one Neo Geo game on the Pocket Color? Wait, what did I say? Wasn't there only one Metal Slug game on the Pocket Color? That said, you know, I wish SNK would release a decent Metal Slug anthology. So I've seen the Metal Slug anthology for PS4 on sale a few times. It's like, you know, I'd be interested in that. And I look into it, and it's a port of the PS2 Metal Slug anthology, but worse. And it's like, you know, why would I bother with that? Alright, let's go through the Colosseum. There is no easy way to do this. Alright, you're having it. Come here. You know, I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and I heard a line that I never knew I wanted to hear, but once I'd heard it, I couldn't imagine life without it. It was a couple of Australian guys playing Star Trek: The Next Generation on Super Nintendo. Oh, the game. Alright. I don't know, you know. They're possibly games that I'm not aware of. Yeah, like there were two Australian guys playing Star Trek: Next Generation, Futures Past on Super Nintendo. Like the first mission for the away team involves dealing with Romulans, and one of them just out of nowhere says, "Cop it, you Romulan pricks," and I never knew I needed to hear that, and it was fantastic, and I was laughing for like 5 minutes about it. It was hilarious. And just someone saying copy your Romulan pricks in an Australian accent, it was amazing. It made my day, honestly, it was fantastic. It was the stupidest thing that made me laugh for so long. Because I can have a sophisticated sense to my humour. No, it was Mr. Sunday Movies. For the most part, the channel itself seems to be... it looks like a clickbait channel. But they have a specific segment called Caravan of Garbage, where the guy gets together with one of his friends and they go through various things. Comics, movies, games, discuss them. And that week they were going through Star Trek Next Generation game. Possibly in preparation for Picard. I didn't check how old the video was. But it made me laugh so hard for like 5 minutes straight. And it was brilliant. Because it was so stupid. Like I said, I can appreciate well, you know, that'd be something that'd be really interesting to watch, actually. Because I've done similar ideas with buying cartridges. Like you buy a DS game card. I wonder what's on it. I wonder what the save is on it. And like how far the save is and what's on it and that kind of thing. It's an interesting idea. I've sat down and if you've ever heard of Ashens, there's a British YouTuber, does various things. Several times he's bought a box of mystery DVDs from I think like HMV or something, or Zavi, or somewhere. But like, he's bought a box of mystery DVDs and then gone through them on camera. And I've sat down and watched like more than one of those. Spike breaker arm is a good idea here. Okay, so I think we only have Beelzebub left as a boss before we go for Dracula. No, we have the zombie trio. The fake trio. Oh yeah, I can understand wanting to play the games that never came out over here. One day I will play Bahamut's Lagoon with that ROM, the translated ROM I have. One day. I feel like if there's any reason more than anything else to play emulation or get a flashcard of anything, it's fan translations. Because seeing some of the stuff that we just never got. It's like, the second Ace Attorney Investigations game. Didn't come out outside Japan, has a full fan translation. And, you know, if you know me, you know I love Ace Attorney. What else was there? Blood of Bahamut. Got a full fan translation. Somabringer, which looked like the closest to Crystal Chronicles on the DS. Like, closer to Crystal Chronicles than the Crystal Chronicles games were. Like, the Crystal Chronicles games on DS were. There's a few fan translations for Game Boy Advance, but not really looked into too many of those. Of course, there's also the fan translations of stuff like Shin Megami Tensei on Super Nintendo. The third Shin Megami Tensei game on Super Nintendo was fan translated, I think, earlier this year. They finally finished it. Shin Megami Tensei If. They recolored the entire background here, it looks terrible. But yeah, I'll always advocate that kind of thing for fan translation. You know what? There's a very prominent example of fan translation on Game Boy Advance, and I can't believe I forgot it. Mother 3. Because, you know, Nintendo's not going to give us that game. There are a few 3DS games that I've seen that have been fan translated, but playing fan translated 3DS games is trickier than it is on other handhelds. So on other handhelds, you can either get a flash card or you can get a reproduction cartridge. Now you can buy reproduction cartridges for DS and Game Boy Advance that have ROM hacks on them. Or fan translations. You can get a fan translated reproduction cartridge for Ace Attorney Investigations 2. But 3DS, 3DS with its firmware, you can't play repro carts like that. Which is a shame. because there is the Ace Attorney spin-off on 3DS that wasn't released outside Japan that I'd like to play. The Great Ace Attorney, I think it was translated as. Where you play as a defense attorney in late 1800s Japan, I think. And you travel to London and you meet Sherlock Holmes and stuff like that. And I want to play that game. Yeah, we're almost done here. These stone skulls are such boring enemies. A big part of the problem with a lot of the rooms in the reverse castle is they just don't have anything. They don't have anything worth going out your way for. Like, that room there was where we got the shield rod in the standard castle. There, nothing. We got a ring that the only use for it is to sell it for money. We don't need money. Even if we hadn't done the fairy glitch, the duplication glitch with the librarian, we wouldn't need money at this point. Awesome, that worked out perfectly. And now go through to Beelzebub in the Alchemy Laboratory, finish the Alchemy Lab off. Use the teleporter to get back to Reverse All Rox's quarters, head to the clock face, and finish this off. And looking at it, we'll probably have some time left over. Awesome, that's done. I don't need to bother with this room anymore. Ugh. How have I not got that map percentage? You know, I was thinking of doing a month devoted to Simpsons games. Ooh, brilliant mail, that's a rare drop. Sub-weapon strength. What is this? This is Lost Painting, I think. One of the biggest issues with the Reverse Castle is that it repeats Final Toccata in like 6 areas. And it repeats Lost Painting in like 3, I think. It's a shame, because Lost Painting is a good piece. But yeah, I was thinking of the idea of doing a Simpsons month. What was it, this week I was thinking of it? Might have been yesterday I was thinking of it. It was like, okay, what would be the best month to do a Simpsons month for? Well, you know, the anniversary of the first Simpsons episode. When's that? It's December. Oh, well, you know, we're not going to be ready for another month in December. Another month dedicated to a specific theme. Like, the games I've got in the works for after Halloween ends ain't gonna be over by the time December starts. The Halloween games are taking like partly into November to finish. So yeah, maybe next year. Maybe next year, next December, instead of a Christmas month, we'll do Simpsons. God, Simpsons is 30 years old this year. You know what date is December 17th? Is that if that's a Saturday, we could do a Simpsons game for that. Let's take a look. It is not, it is a Tuesday. That is a shame because the 30th anniversary would have been perfect for something. Yeah, well. So we have the entire alchemy laboratory to do. And that should be it. Honestly, further along in the backlog. Mostly, I just hope I'm still having fun with it. Beelzebub. I would argue this is, with the exception of Galamoth, this is the worst fight in the game. There we go. Yeah, as long as I'm still having fun with it, totally happy with it. I mean, we're not actually that far off from the 1 year anniversary of the first part of Symphony of the Night. Because Symphony of the Night was the first Let's Play that I did. And it started going up in March. Of course I didn't get all of that room. So yeah, we're not that far away from the 1 year anniversary. Surprised I've lasted this long, actually. The streaming was unexpected. I ended up with the ability to stream, so I took it. It's pretty fun. Yeah, we're not having the diamond. I want to start getting into some games that I've not actually played before. Start doing some blind streams soon. Actually doing them properly. So the last thing holding me back from that was my thought of... like, chances are I'm going to be pretty quiet while playing a game for the first time. And like the face cam will really, I think, make that less of an issue. Be able to see my reactions and stuff, it'd be cool. Okay, we'll hit this and then we'll circle back round. Tell you what though, I do want to actually do the Legend I want to get started on the Zelda series for the actual Let's Plays before the 1 year anniversary, because, like, jeez. I mean, the first year we've got two Castlevania games, 2 Resident Evil games, probably going to have 2 Sonic games, because I'm probably going to do Sonic 2 soon. Probably 2 Spider-Man games, because I want to start Enter Electro soon. But the idea that I wouldn't have started the Legend of Zelda series in the first year is crazy. I mean, I did do the record and threw it away because I wasn't happy with it, but still. And as far as the streaming goes in itself, though, the streaming is mostly not something I have any oh god, this one. Streaming isn't something I have any major plans with. It's more a case of let's sit down, play some games, and chat. Let's have some fun and chat with some cool people. With the channel, though, specifically since it's since the whole thing is a hobby, there's not really a specific goal in mind beyond just play more games. Stop sitting around and watching YouTube every night. Actually play some of these games you've got. And we got some cool stuff coming up. I hope will be enjoyed. We've got some more ideas for theme months that I want to get to. Specifically with, I think Halloween's been pretty decent. And Halloween can be a recurring thing every year. The real issue with Halloween is the time it takes to finish a single game. God damn it. I am happy that I ended up doing Suffering. Resident Evil 2 had to happen at some point. I kind of have it in my head that maybe I'll do Resident Evil 2 again next year, but I probably shouldn't. But that would just be to get Leon A. Claire me on the channel, but I do want to do another. It's like the Suffering is a game you wouldn't have expected. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to play some horror games for Halloween, for the horror month. Like, oh, what are you going to play? Oh, well, you know, take a guess. Your first guess ain't going to be the Suffering. So I do have a desire to do more like that, more surprising games that you wouldn't think of. Like maybe, you know, this Resident Evil may end up being a regular part of Halloween, who knows? It may not. I may decide to mix it up. So yeah, no, next year we'll do Silent Hill, the other big horror series from back in the day. But who knows, maybe it'll go alongside Project Zero. Maybe we'll do one of the Evil Dead games. Like Evil Dead Regeneration, which I have wanted to take a look at for a while. Or maybe a Fistful of Boomstick. But like do some lesser expected titles. There are a few ideas I would like to get around to actually doing at some point. Like the demo reel is something I want to do. Maybe some multiplayer stuff. Would be really nice. Like have a guest contributor every now and then would be kind of cool. Come on. But for the most part, my intention is to kind of just keep going as we've been going. We did go in here, alright. Like I said, got some ideas for more themed months. I think one of the earliest theme months that I mentioned was Superhero Month. And that's an idea I definitely want to do. But I've decided to change it up, specifically into a Marvel month and a DC month. And then specifically, I think Batman and Spider-Man get enough attention as it is. A month of Marvel games and a month of DC games, specifically not doing any full playthroughs of Batman or Spider-Man games, especially since, you know, got the Spider-Man games I'm going to be doing anyway. I'm not going to restrict those to a month. There's the Arkham series, there's stuff like the Lego Batman games, Batman Vengeance. So like no full playthroughs for those. That should be everything. Let me head back to Reverse or Rox's quarters. Like maybe a weekend one-off for some of those Batman or Spider-Man games that I'm not actually going to do a full playthrough on. Oh yeah, no, here's Batman Rise of Sin Tzu. For a weekend one-off, and it's like, why did I complete that game when I was younger? Or like, oh, here's Spider-Man the Animated Series on Super Nintendo. Yeah, there is the possibility that, like Horrorween, a Marvel month and or a DC month could be a recurring thing every year if we go long enough. The idea with a Simpsons month, though, I think would be 1 month ever. Because, like, you think of the Simpsons games you'd actually be interested in a full playthrough of. And it comes down to everybody's going to say hit and run. And then maybe have a hard time thinking of a second. And I do have a second. The Simpsons game that came out for PS2, PS3, Wii, Xbox 360. Death of Superman is definitely going to be a game that'll get touched upon at some point. And Maximum Carnage as well, though. Like with the Simpsons, like I can only think of 2 Simpsons games that I'd do a full playthrough of, and it's Hit and Run and the Simpsons game. But then specifically because the Simpsons would be 1 month and it wouldn't recur, I think I would double up on the weekend one-offs. So there'd be a weekend one-off on Saturday and one on Sunday, specifically for some of the older games and some of the crap games. There's like, you know, do a weekend one-off on stuff like Bart's Nightmare, Virtual Bart, Simpsons Road Rage, Simpsons Skateboarding, Escape from Camp Deadly, Krusty's Super Fun House, the Itchy and Scratchy game, that kind of thing. The 90s ones would get touched upon, but they wouldn't get full playthroughs. Alright, let's do this. Swear to God, if I don't get that good ending now. Simpsons Wrestling. Yeah, games that definitely touch upon, but I'd never do a full playthrough of. Alright. So there's a trick here when you want the map completion. You have to go all the way round to the other side, and then go back without going into the centre. Okay, and now we go round the other side, because otherwise we're locked into the final battle. If you're after the complete bestiary, you can... I'm not sure if it counts enemies you've killed or if hitting an enemy is enough. But you can use a library card after you defeat Shaft and end up with Shaft in the bestiary.
You have done well in making it this far. I would expect no less from the son of our master.
So you are the one who is controlling Belmont?
Yes. I am the dark priest called Shaft. This
Then
world
we
must
can
be
dig it.
cleansed in the forge of chaos.
Why did you make Belmont lord of this castle?
For centuries, vampire hunters have defeated evil with holy power. But if two vampire hunters were to fight each other...
But Belmont's power is supreme among vampire hunters. None other could defeat him.
Exactly.
This
That's
plot is
why I
stupid.
removed him as a threat, by making him into lord of this castle.
But your plan has failed.
Later Castlevania games try to run with this idea.
We'll see what
I think
happens
in
after I
canon,
destroy your
it was later
wicked
decided that
side.
Richter is like the most powerful Belmont.
Oh! No!
You claim to love the darkness. Go then and dwell there for all eternity.
But my goal is achieved. Count Dracula has come to
I
purify
wonder
this
what
corrupt
keeps
world
Shaft from coming back
with the
again.
searing
Because like we
flames
kill him in
of
Rondo of
chaos.
Blood, and then his ghost turns up as a boss fight in Rondo of Blood. And we kill his ghost, but now he's back again. And it's like, what's to stop him coming back again?
Father,
So, fun fact,
Well met, my son.
which I think I
It's
did
been a
mention
long
last time. Dracula
I was
is voiced
hoping
by
we
the
would
same
not see
person
each
who
other
voices
again.
Harry Mason in
I
Silent
can't
Hill.
allow you to leave here, Father.
You have ever been the ally of humans. Have you forgotten what they did to your mother?
Think you I would forget such a thing? No, but neither do I seek revenge against them.
Still uttering the same nonsense. No matter. Now is the time to put aside your weak human side and join me in remaking this world.
I like this voice
Dracula,
acting.
in the name of my
Then
mother,
people overreact
I
to
will
this.
defeat you again.
Alright. Final boss. Let's break the game again. Where did I put my shield rod? There it is. So, fun fact actually, before we do this, the gas cloud power you get for defeating Galamoth doesn't affect Dracula, which is pretty neat. But yeah, Alucard's shield plus shield rod. Massive damage when you touch anything with your shield, and also heals you for 8 points with every touch.
Go back whence you came. Trouble the soul of my mother no more.
It is the most broken ability in the game.
How is it that I've been so defeated?
You have been doomed ever since you lost the ability to love.
Sarcasm. For what profit is it to a man if he gains the world and loses his own soul? Matthew 16:26, I believe. Tell me, what were Lisa's last words?
She said, do not hate humans. If you cannot live with them, then at least do them no harm. For theirs is already a hard lot. Yeah. She also said to tell you that she would love you for all of eternity.
Lisa, forgive me. Farewell, my son.
You know, I should do Dracula X Chronicles one day. You get a little more characterization for Shaft in that. God, I hope I got the good ending after all that. But yeah, like, we got various ideas for themed months and stuff like that. There's the Disney month idea, which would end with the beginning of a Kingdom Hearts playthrough. The Star Wars month idea, which, you know, if we can ever get past the copyright claims.
Alucard, I'm glad you're all right.
Why can't you pronounce names right, Maria?
'Tis my fault you had to fight your own father.
Fear not. I had my own reasons for destroying him.
It must have been painful for you.
Indeed. But you must always remember that the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing.
Is that the aqueduct we crossed in Rondo of Blood in the background?
Alucard, what will you do now?
The blood that flows in my veins is cursed. 'Twould be best for this world if I were to disappear forever.
I see.
Farewell then. We'll not meet again.
Alucard?
Don't you want to go after him,
Come
Maria?
on.
I'm sorry.
There we go.
I can't let him disappear from my life.
It's all right. Go after him. Perhaps you can save his haunted soul.
Thank you, Richter. Fare thee well.
And yourself, dear lady.
Well, you know, Richter can't complain to Alucard about that. Richter was the one that was supposed to set it up.
Just like the wind, I've always been drifting high up in the sky that never ends. Through thick and thin,
Yeah, let's not do Symphony Night again for a while.
always win. 'Cause
I mean, we go long enough. I'm going to do this game again. Probably do the version in Castlevania Requiem, which is the PSP version. Yeah, do that one so I can complain about the new voice acting. And also the new script. They make out like the new script is such an improvement, and it's not.
when my days
In a lot of places, it's either exactly the same or comes across as way more forced.
Someone testing me every day I live.
So this credits theme,
Best in me is all I have to give. I can't
they replaced it in the PSP version with something else. They made a new song for the credits. I don't remember what it was. I've only beat the PSP version like twice. In the Xbox version, the version that was put on Xbox Live Arcade, for some reason this credits theme is replaced with a piece from Lament of Innocence. Not really sure why. Really do not get this credits theme. It's like when you watch Batman and Robin and then the credits come up and for some reason it's R. Kelly singing about how Gotham City is a city of peace and love. And it's like, I'm sorry, what? Or like Batman Forever has two songs that plays over its credits. It starts with Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me by, I think, the Smashing Pumpkins, and then goes into Seal singing Kiss from a Rose. I was like, what? The 90s were a weird time. We probably shouldn't go back to them. Ever. Ever. Never. No. No. The 90s gave us a lot of good things, yes, but it was also weird. You can't pretend it wasn't. Alright, let's take a look what the map completion was at by the end of that. Let's take a quick look. What was it? It was 199.1. I think you need like 185. That's the one I did for the the Let's Play. Wow, look at the time difference there. Alright. So we got some time left for the stream. So let's swap out the games now and play something else for the last half hour or so. And I know just the thing. Yes. Oh no, the 80s was also weird. I'm not saying it wasn't. You know, I think I've spent like half an hour on this game in total over my life. You know, I don't think we give PS1 FMVs enough credit. No, I think it was just two tarantulas meeting each other for a get-together later. So this is Castlevania Chronicles. Castlevania Chronicles is the PS1 release of the remake of the original Castlevania for the Sharp X9600, I think it is. It's a weird console that probably never came outside Japan. Please, setting adjustment. Ooh, added especially for fans outside Japan. Interview with the producer. I'm okay, thank you. So original mode is how the game originally was on the whatever it was. Range mode is the new redone version of the remake specifically for PlayStation. And fun fact, this game is where the Ayami Kojima artwork of Simon Belmont comes from. It was done specifically for this release of this game. Kronk. So, yep, this is the only time you see Simon Belmont with red hair. So I played this for like half an hour or so. It's not a bad way to play the original Castlevania. Especially if you ever wanted a sweet rave version of Vampire Killer. Yeah, it's basically Castlevania 1 with some control refinements, some gameplay improvements. The original version, the original mode, which is basically the original version of it. No. I did say Smashing Pumpkins, you know what? I've just realised it was you too. Smashing Pumpkins did The Beginning is the End is the beginning for Batman Forever. The original mode on this is basically the game as it was on the Sharp whatever, which is basically the original game with better graphics. And so you've got the stiff jump that you can't control in mid-air and everything like that. It's like your classic Castlevania, you jump and that's it. But the arrange mode gives you control over your jump. You know, I did say Smashing Pumpkins, Hold Me, Kill Me, Twist Me. hold me, kiss me, hold me, thrill me, kiss me, kill me. I did say Smashing Pumpkins. I was wrong. Smashing Pumpkins was the beginning, because the end is the beginning. Ah, where's my wall meat? Supposed to be wall meat here. Oh, down the stairs, Simon. Yeah, it's not a bad way to experience the original Castlevania. And, you know, most people who have played Castlevania are not going to have actually played this. But it's also an interesting way to experience the original Castlevania. And it's a better way to experience it than playing Haunted Castle. You know, I'm not overly fond of this Mad Rave version of Vampire Killer. I could do with an axe. I also want to test out whether or not I can actually jump on 2 stairs. They're gonna keep coming. Nope. So that'll be important to remember. Yeah, you know me, I like Batman and Robin. I find it to be an entertaining movie. And, you know, I'm also into bad puns. Giant bat. Ah! I'm sure that's new. Doesn't go well. Haha. I was kind of unsure what to end the stream on, but then I remembered I have Castlevania Chronicles on here. And I think we can safely say nobody's going to come into this stream now. Someone might have been looking for Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Nobody's looking for Castlevania Chronicles, so we've got the entire stream to ourselves. Going down? What? Stage 2 of Castlevania 1 doesn't go down, it goes up. And to the left. What madness is this? The caverns aren't until stage 4. You know, I feel like this is a tutorial for these slime things, and they're going to turn up later as an actual obstacle when there are enemies around. What the hell was that? Oh yeah, I knew about that. Joel Schumacher wanted Uma Thurman cast as Poison Ivy because he saw her in... I forget what the movie was called. She played Venus in it. Or Aphrodite. She played a love goddess. And he thought she was so beautiful. So she should be Poison Ivy. And that's why Uma Thurman was cast as Poison Ivy. That's interesting. Go down or to the right? Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Huh. Oh, I didn't want that. I thought it disappeared. Yeah, this is actually pretty interesting. Taking Castlevania 1 in a different direction. That is different from Super Castlevania 4 because, you know, let's be fair, Super Castlevania 4 is a remake of Castlevania 1. Yeah, that's what it was. Ah! Oh, your friend, okay. Oh, did I really want double shot knife? I think the blame for Batman and Robin is... Yeah, I thought it was gonna be death, but you know, that board took so long to actually appear. I think the blame for Batman and Robin is unfairly placed on Joel Schumacher. I mean, yeah, he gets part of it, but you know, let's be fair, that was a movie made by studio executives who wanted to sell toys. You know, I've never actually seen it. I've only seen that one scene with Uma Thurman in. And, you know, yeah, I think Eric Idle actually is in that scene. Oh god, is this a boss? Oh, this ain't gonna be good. Scratch my nose and take a drink. Yeah, I would have loved if we had the option for this redhead Simon Belmont design in Smash Ultimate as an alternate costume. As it is, as it is, I think It's like a lot of the Nintendo characters in Smash Ultimate have costumes. Like a lot of their costumes reference various things, but the DLC characters generally don't, and the non-Nintendo characters generally don't. Snake is like the one exception because all of Snake's alternate costumes are camo you can get in Metal Gear Solid 3. But at no point do they have an option for you to play as Snake in the Kabuki makeup. Like Cloud has well, that just happened. Cloud has his Final Fantasy VII outfit and his Advent Children outfit. Bayonetta has Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2 outfits. Okay. Alright, here we go. Jeez, that's tight. Oh boy. Oh wow, I did not expect that. You know what's nice? No knockback. That boss would have been impossible if we had the standard Castlevania knockback. What was I saying? Yeah, like with both Simon and Richter in Smash Ultimate, their alternate costumes are just different colours. But you have characters like Mario. Every one of his costumes references something. Although, one disappointment I have with Mario's costume options in Ultimate, they took out the Fire Flower option. Since Brawl, one of Mario's alternate costumes... What the hell hit me? Since Brawl, one of Mario's alternate costumes was Fire Flower Mario. And they took it out. But you still get Fire Flower Luigi. Yeah, and they've got Builder Mario in there from Mario Maker. Smash Ultimate also has the wedding suit Mario from Mario Odyssey. Like Tuxedo Mario. But ridiculously doesn't have Tuxedo Bowser. Bowser was dapper as hell in that old outfit. Oh, that's not good. Uh-oh. Oh, that didn't last long enough. Well, you know, that's not just the concept art, that is actually the game as well. I actually really like Cloud's Kingdom Hearts 1 design as an alternate costume. It's DLC for the second Dissidia game, Duodecim. And I got it. I got the Cloud DLC, the Cloud costume DLC, the Squall costume DLC that is his Leon design from Kingdom Hearts 1. I also got the Sephiroth DLC, which was Sephiroth's design from Kingdom Hearts 1. And the only one of them I regret actually buying is the Sephiroth one, because it looked... But when it comes down to it, I'd rather have Cloud and Advent Children Cloud as options before Kingdom Hearts Cloud, but I love Kingdom Hearts Cloud as an option. As like an extra option. I'm not going to make this. There's so many more flea men coming at me than before. Damn it. How do I get back to... Oh, there we go, it's circle. So let's find out what those tarantulas were actually doing. Yeah, they were just meeting each other. Saying hi. So let's try original mode. I think they're fighting there. But yeah, the Sharp whatever, not a console you'll ever hear about. I've only ever heard about it in relation to this game. Huh. We got the original music tones as well, which is interesting. That's got to be Wicked Child, which is a classic Castlevania tune. Bloody tear. That's not bad. Theme of Simon came from Super Castlevania 4. You goddamn bathead. Oh, jeez. Alright, so let's take a look at original mode here, and I think then we'll call it a night. I'm actually pretty tired. See, that's more traditional, Simon. Oh no, you can still change direction in mid-air, that's really interesting. God, this sounds like it has more twang than the Genesis. Looks like the same game so far. I always hated those Black Panthers in the first stage. Although in the original Castlevania, the less Black Panthers and more just dogs. Yeah, it's even got that weird, huge painting. Like, the tones on this system are really weird. Is this not going to have the wall meet again? Nope. Why would you put Fleamen in there? So does this also have the completely different stage 2 then? Oh, it has actual knockback. I landed on that and then fell off it for some reason. Who knows, maybe on Tuesday we'll take advantage of it being one more stream before actual Halloween and do the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. I say maybe, probably not. Who knows? See what I feel. And honestly, when I say the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, I mean we're probably either going to just focus on Super Castlevania 4 or Bloodlines. Then why the hell do we remember him with a black wing in the original Kingdom Hearts? Does he have the black wing during the tournament fight? Like, not the mandatory one you have to do to beat Olympus Coliseum, like the later one that you do for the optional tournaments? It was only added... I'm sure we knew about it before 1.5. Because like 1.5 only came out in like 2013, I think. You know, I kind of just blanked out that entire last room. I was not paying attention. Get down here. Huh. That is interesting. I never actually beat the original Kingdom Hearts. No, this one goes down as well. That's weird. It's weird. I don't like it. It's different. Yeah, I did never actually beat the original Kingdom Hearts. I think I stopped in Hollow Bastion because I was not enjoying the original Kingdom Hearts. And then I pushed through it for Final Mix. And I'm going to have to do that again for the channel at some point. Yeah, let's see what we can finish on. See if we've got any fun little things we can do as a quick goodbye. We're never going to get another Castlevania game. Konami just put out a mobile Castlevania game. And what it looks like is Harmony of Despair on mobile. It's like, why? Why would you do this to us? But then, let's not forget, they also announced a new Silent Hill game, and it was a pachinko machine. You know, a Simon's Quest remake wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. Something to actually refine some of the mechanics. Because like Zelda 2, one of my biggest problems with actually going back and playing through Simon's Quest again is the grinding. Because of the level system that's not well implemented. Yeah. To be fair, though, with the success of Resident Evil 2 Remake and Devil May Cry 5, Capcom did say they're looking at reviving some of their old franchises. Maybe we'll actually get a proper Breath of Fire 6. Maybe it'll be better than Star Ocean 5. I mean, would have been better to leave the series dead at that point. It's like, oh hey, yeah, no, one of your favourite series is coming back. Yeah, we know we messed up with the last game, but we're going to do better this time. And, you know, if you buy it, we'll make more of them, and then the game comes out and it's garbage. It's like, nobody's going to buy it because it's garbage. And then they'll use that to say, oh, you know, nobody bought it. People don't want this series anymore. It's like, no, you just made garbage. People didn't want to buy your garbage. 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 You know, I hate Twitch's naming system. Like when you're trying to put in what game you're playing. You got to put it in exactly right, exactly how it's spelt. It's like we're checking out Ridge Racer 4, Ridge Racer Type 4 here. But its official title is R4, Ridge Racer Type 4. So if you try putting in Ridge Racer and then finding Ridge Racer Type 4, you won't find it. You have to put in R4, Ridge Racer Type 4. Alright, let me see. Can I do a solo race? Not a solo race. Can I do a single race? No. But yeah, it's a similar thing with Suikoden. We're probably never going to get another Suikoden game, and it's probably a good thing at this point.
Welcome to the Real Racing Roots 99 Grand Prix. Here are the rules of competition for this Grand Prix. The Grand Prix consists of 3 stages with a total of 8 races.
Ooh.
Stages 1 and 2 each consist of 2 races, while the final round consists of 4 races. You have 4 chances to advance through each race. You must finish within a qualifying position to advance through
So Ridge Racer
each
Type 4 is often considered as like the peak of the series, because it's just that good.
The qualifying position for each stage is as follows. You must finish 3rd or better in each race to advance through stage 1. Second place.
I really hate that you can't skip any of
to
this.
advance through stage 2. And finally, a first place finish is required for all 4 races in the final round. To win the Grand Prix,
But yeah, naming, like making sure you've got your game written down right on Twitch is so irritating. Meanwhile, on YouTube, try and enter what game you're playing there or what game your video is on. And you don't even have to spell the full game out, you don't have to be grammatically correct or anything, you can just put whatever. There's a funny story with there's a funny story with the Suffering when uploading those and going putting the name in, typing in Suffer to get the Suffering up, and the top 3 entries in YouTube's database for that are the Suffering Ties That Bind, and World of Final Fantasy. Consistently did that, it was hilarious to me. Yeah, I started World of Final Fantasy on my Vita and I got like 4 or 5 hours into it and then just kind of stopped. And I don't want to go back to it on Vita now because Maxima's out and it's not on Vita.
Real Racing Roots 99 in Helter Skelter. 3, 2, 1,
There we go. This is it. This is as good as arcade racing ever got. No, that wasn't called the suffering, it's just that you were suffering. You know, let's get into a long... There's a long straight, I think, along the road to the finish line. See how the draw distance is for that. Usually the main thing people complain about with PS1 driving games is the draw distance. And the popping. You know, that's actually a really good draw distance for PS1. And the fact that you can see enough of the track in front of you, I wouldn't complain about this. You know, I never did play Rage Racer. There's Ridge Racer, there's Ridge Racer Revolution, there's Rage Racer, and then this is Ridge Racer Type 4, which is the fourth Ridge Racer. And there's Ridge Racer 5 on PS2, Ridge Racer 6 on Xbox 360, Ridge Racer 7 on PS3. There's also Ridge Racer on PSP, Ridge Racer 2 on PSP. There's Ridge Racer 64, which I think I played for like 5 minutes. The drifting on this feels weird. I can't get it down at all. That was a 2-lap race. Look at a sick freak has a 2-lap race. Yeah, but to be fair, Destruction Derby wasn't a great game anyway. You know what, give me a minute actually. I might have one more thing for us to try out before we go. So I don't think Destruction Derby was ever actually re-released. Alright, here we go. This will be a good one. Close out the stream with this one. Remember when EA actually referred to themselves as Electronic Arts? Need for Speed 3, Hot Pursuit. The one that nobody remembers. Because, you know, people are either talking about the original Need for Speed, or if they're talking Hot Pursuit, they're usually talking Hot Pursuit 2. Oh, there we go. Corvette. Countach? Nazca? Oh, we're not allowed to drive these. Not allowed to drive the Jaguar. I'll go with the Corvette. Like, see, here's one area where Need for Speed definitely sets itself apart. With the exception of this car, like basically all of these cars look like they have the same bumper. Look at this. You have green, you have orange, you have purple. You don't have black. What was that about? Well, that's just it, Bane. I never learned to drive. Yeah, this looks way worse than Ridge Racer Type 4. It also feels a lot looser. And the frame rate is definitely worse. There's also no music. Like, why would you have a racing game without music? Yeah, I'm already not liking this. You know, better crash physics than Gran Turismo. Drifting feels a little better, at least. You know what the disappointing thing about this is? It's like, okay, before the crash and everything, I'm driving as fast as I can go and I'm not getting anywhere. This is supposed to be beginner difficulty. And he's like, what?
Lap 2.
Oh, don't worry, it wasn't an accident, it was completely intentional. Okay, remember not to crash into a lamppost this time. Oh, no, there it is. It was going so well. You know what, I'll admit the draw distance for this isn't that bad either. And once we actually get going at a decent speed, the frame rate doesn't feel that bad. But maybe the issue was just how many cars were on screen at the start of the race.
That's your best lap, lap 3.
That's my best lap. Uh-oh. Was that episode one of the classic ones, or was that like after they started getting kind of? Because I feel like it's one of the later ones. But then that car is in. God damn it! I looked away for 1 second, I think. But that car is in, I think, both Road Rage and Hit and Run, which would mean it would have to be pre-2002. But then, if we count the good seasons as being up to season, even loosely up to season 10, then 2002's past that. We're in the early 2000s, alright. You know, I was never into the Need for Speed series prior to Underground. Like, we had Hot Pursuit 2 when I was younger, and I just didn't like it.
It's the final lap.
It's the final lap down, Yep, there it is. Yeah, I'm actually surprised when we're looking at the completion time for the file that I did for the Let's Play. I did not realise I got through the game that fast. I was really happy with the playthrough because I managed to get the route really optimised for it. So there was very little backtracking, if any. But I did not realise that I'd gotten through it in under 4 hours. It was a good playthrough.
That's your best lap.
Imagine, like, being one of the other racers there. Like, oh yeah, this guy been crashing all over the bloody place.
Congratulations.
Like, for the first 3 laps. Yeah, for the completion time of Symphony during the playthrough. Like, imagine that though, like, this guy been crashing around in the first 3 laps, then all of a sudden, right at the end of the final lap, shoots past you and takes second. That's embarrassing. What a bland racing game. EA went on to make like 20 more entries in this series. Alright, that's gonna do it. We've gone long now. I want to thank everybody who joined the stream today. I really appreciate the support. Thank you for watching at any point. Special thanks to Bane for keeping me company in the chat. I really appreciate that, man. Because otherwise I would have probably just been banging my head against the wall for most of that map coverage in the reverse castle. We will be back on Tuesday with probably a fresh playthrough, and then on Thursday we have the Halloween stream, which should be fun. I'm not sure we're going to start on Tuesday. There's a few ideas. We'll see. We will see. Remember, remember to practice safe headbanging etiquette. Always wear protection. These names are horrible. Yeah, back Tuesday with a fresh playthrough. I'll be starting something new. And not sure what it'll be, but be something. It's probably going to be either the original Final Fantasy or Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. So we'll see. Halloween stream on Thursday, which I'm looking forward to. That should be fun. But with that is the end of tonight's stream. Once again, special thanks to Bane for joining me in the chat. Maybe I should have a few drinks for the Halloween stream as well. I might see about that. I don't know. That'll be a bad idea. That could be interesting. Because the game I'm thinking of doing for Halloween is going to require a lot of focus. I am not doing the NES Indiana Jones games. You do the NES Indiana Jones games. You play Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. Talk about that game one day. That game. Ugh. That was the last Indiana Jones game, Staff of Kings. Jeez. I am tired. Should have got more sleep. Could have taken a nap, actually. But yeah, back on Tuesday. If I am going to do any drinking on Thursday, that's probably going to be a risky idea because the game I'm thinking of is going to require a lot of focus, especially as we get further in. But we'll see. But in the meantime, once again, special thanks to Bane for joining the chat. Always appreciate that, buddy. Back on Tuesday with a new game to play. But in the meantime, thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic time of day. And I will catch you next time. Take care. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna drink on stream anyway. Various reasons why not, but probably not gonna happen. Thanks for your concern though, Ben. Catch you next time.